Prophet, peace be upon him, the hand that gives is better than the hand that receives. And in Christianity, love thyself and love thy neighbor, that's a similar idea. But let's be realistic. Let's be honest with ourselves. Do we really understand what that means? And do we really put these ideas into practice on a daily basis? Ask yourselves whether you really do that. Do we really know what these words mean? Closely. Watch as the art evolves. Simple shapes form to create meaning. Colors evolve before our eyes, expressing inner thoughts. Four sides of a cube, four aspects of the same problem that we can see every day with our own eyes. And yet, most of us choose to do nothing about it. We just care about ourselves, about our own families, about our well-being. For people in every part of the world, in many different locations, food and religion have always had close associations. For example, before and after receiving a meal, a silent thank you in the form of a prayer is usually said. But in this day and age, do we really understand what had to happen for us to be fed? To put it simply, in other words, In order for us to eat, somebody else had to starve, and that's a fact. What I'm talking about is a system of exploitation where people are economically trapped. Think about the last time you went to the supermarket and you bought the best products that are grown in third world nations, like coffee, fruit, and sugar. These are produced on African, Latin American, and Asian plantations. These are cash crops, grown only for exporting to foreign markets, and it's the start of a system of exploitation that we are all a part of. Large corporations, both foreign and domestic, purchase as much land as possible in this third world country for the sole purpose of farming those products I mentioned while the local population goes hungry. So instead of using the land to grow food for a starving majority, only the most lucrative crops are grown and then exported. It's all controlled by a wealthy minority. Local government officials, foreign CEOs, those are the types of people who will benefit most from this system. It's all about stock market prices and profit margins. The average farmer becomes the victim. He is forced to give up his land and work for the same people who are responsible and who have made it impossible for him to grow his own food to feed his family. It's an economic system in place that's unstoppable. It's unstoppable. So what happens if another country producing the same crops has a very successful harvest? It can flood the market with the same products very rapidly. And if the price is determined internationally, excess products lead to a reduction in price, and who suffers? The farmers and workers naturally. They are forced to accept less wages for the work they've done. That's the harsh reality. That's the harsh reality. So the next time you say a prayer before you eat and you thank God for His blessing, I want you to think about this image and then ask yourself a question. Is this person giving thanks for the meal that he has just received, or is he begging for money because he's starving? It's up to you what you choose to believe. So, while the less fortunate eat to live, you know, in order to survive, we can afford to live to eat, you know, pay for the best food that money can buy. For every hand that reaches out in desperation and need, there's another hand that reaches out to take and take where the only motivation is greed. What I mean is, right now there's people starving all over the world in many different places, but you and me are still having the same ridiculous conversations about food on a daily basis. Excuse me, waiter. This is overcooked. I said medium rare. I can't eat this. Look, I pay good money here. I'm a regular. I cannot believe this. As soon as I get home, I'm gonna write on my food blog, 2 stars out of 5. I'm gonna tell everyone I know. And by the way, why is the service here so slow? We've all said it. You know we've all said it. Complaining about unimportant things on a daily basis. And what's going on in the kitchens of restaurants all across this country? Table 13 asked for medium rare. Why didn't you remember what you were told? Yeah, I know, but the customer is always right. We have standards to uphold. Look, throw it out, start again, 15 minutes, let's go. I have a business to run. Time is money. Why am I telling you things that you should already know? And by the way, table 6 complained about the portion size. And yet they've hardly touched their food, not even a bit of it. Well, it's fine. It's already paid for. You know what to do. Get rid of it. And listen, we have a reputation for fresh ingredients. That's a promise we made to the customers, and we need to stay true to it. I already told you, if anything in our stock is older than a day, I know it's a waste, but we have no use for it. And so on and so forth. These are just some examples of our day-to-day conversations, as well as the things they say in the kitchens of restaurants all across the nation. According to some reports, up to 30% of everything eaten in restaurants is left on a plate. In this country, we also eat out more for convenience, so it gives you an idea of how much waste we continue to accumulate. And we are all at fault. We are all responsible. But whether we choose to do something about it or not, at least that's a choice that rests in our hands. We can make that difference. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And when you see that mosque beginning to take shape, I want you to remember how in Islam, in order to learn self-control, a period of fasting begins. In Christianity, gluttony is mentioned as one of the 7 deadly sins. In Buddhism and Hinduism, greed is also negatively viewed. Well, if that's the case, then why do we continue to take more than we actually need when it comes to food? And the more we take, the more we throw away. According to the Star, 930 tons of uneaten food in Malaysia is wasted every single day. So whether you're Indian, Chinese, or Malay, that's all of our waste combined. Now, I'm pretty sure that's not the kind of one Malaysia that the government had in mind. 930 tons. That's 93,000 10-kilogram bags of rice wasted every day in Malaysia. And according to the New Straits Times, this country has the highest rate of obesity in Southeast Asia. So let me try to understand this. We waste too much food, but at the same time we eat too much. It seems outrageous. I know it's unpleasant to think about, but sometimes we need to face the truth about ourselves if there's ever going to be any changes. Now, if the UN claims that hunger kills 6 million children every year, well, we all have children of our own, so we know that's the kind of pain that we could never bear within ourselves, on our conscience, in our souls, if it ever happened to us. But we still feel like it's not our problem. That's how we choose to discuss. What's happening in countries so far away? The FAO claims that 925 million people starve every day. We could sit back and feel glad that we live in a country where these things don't happen. But deep down we know that it's our responsibility as human beings to take action. Again, in Islam, everyone here knows about zakat, which is a form of charity. In Christianity, giving to the poor is an important part of humanity. In Buddhism, the haves must give to the have-nots, and that's an obligation. In Hinduism, personal sacrifice is expressed through donations. So all of us seem to be quite similar in terms of the spiritual paths that we're supposed to take, and yet we're also quite similar in terms of the human mistakes that we continue to make. So where do we go from here? Do we confront this problem and attempt to understand it? Or should we carry on by making the same mistakes and take things for granted? When will we change? Ask yourself, when will we change?
When will we change? Northern Sandy. When will we change? Hey. Oh, oh, oh,